It has been weeks since you stepped through that portal provided by the angel. And you have struggled for these weeks. This icy, unforgiving winter has been everywhere with your people. You're trying to make it back. Axe has said that, make it back to the city, join the last battle that we have, fulfill our commitment to these people, and then we leave. And in that journey, it's hard not to despair because of the lack of food. People have died. And Perrinval City is not even that far away. But for now, it feels like it might as well be a million miles away. Without the shelter and the food that you need, it feels hopeless. Ever since you beat that guy up and kind of like got everybody to follow you, what do you think Bjorn has been doing? It's this Arctic trek to get back to Perrinval City, away from the Western Vale and back into the southern part of the coast.
I would say probably always doing stuff. He's got a lot of people around him, and he's in this leadership position, and not entirely sure what to do with that. But what he can do is stuff. So he's probably running around and helping everywhere he can help, and probably doing a lot of hunting because that's a problem, and just like he's kind of always moving.
Do you have anything that anything that provides food, or you're able to hunt especially good? Is there something that you've got or something like that?
I have my background feature, Wanderer. I have excellent memory for maps and geography, can always recall general layout of terrain, and can find food and fresh water for myself and up to 5 other people each day, provided that the land isn't dead.
Well, that has proven a little bit of a problem. You have food, and you're able to find a little bit of food. Your tribesmen, which are really normal people, actually, they are not like you and not able to do things like this. There are a group of them that suggest to you that if people cannot find their own food, they shouldn't have any. And several of them even refuse food from you, even as they're dying for that reason.
Okay.
What do you do?
I think for the ones that refuse food, that's a battle I'm not particularly going to pick. Actually, it's like just generally as conflict avoidance in this situation. Like if they're like, nope, I can't feed myself, so I'm not going to accept food. All right, that's what you're going with. But if people are saying that someone who wants food should not be given it because they can't successfully hunt food, I'm going to kind of just ignore that person and attempt to feed those who need it anyway.
You, all right, and you can take 3 points.
I should write those down somewhere.
You might have a point cap, and what I'll do is if you go past it, then you'll have temporary points, so if you lose any, you're not going to lose any, is what I'm thinking. But, okay. This angers some people, a large portion of the people here, who things are already kind of threadbare. Those that are able to gather food and things, they start to grumble. And Bjorn is no idiot. At least he can tell that, and people are bringing you these concerns. They say that people are questioning, your leadership because they were under the impression that an Uthgardt warrior should be self-sufficient. And so people start to ask you questions. Um, and you could make a insight check, I think. And then I have some of the questions that they'll ask.
Okay. That would be a 17 insight.
You can tell that at least half these people are asking you questions because they're probing you for weaknesses.
Okay. I'd like to take someone who asks me this question, but who I'm like who I get the impression isn't trying to shiv me in the back. Like we get along pretty well, but they're honestly like, "Hey Bjorn, what's going on here?"
Okay.
And when they bring this to my attention, I would like to sort of gather people around, make a little crowd of it and make it a teaching moment.
And you find that opportunity comes fairly easily. There is a drow woman, and she, you can easily sense that there is no guile in what she asks. There's this sort of moment where you're huddled together, because this is one of the best things you can do to survive is just literally staying close. And you try to find shelter, a rock outcropping, one of these massive structures that the builders, the first empire, the fallen empire, when they first came here, that litters the landscape. You try to get on the side where the wind doesn't hit you as much. The wind chill factor doesn't freeze you as much. It's still freezing cold, so you're huddled together. And that's when these questions come. And this drow woman, Natalia, she's older but tough. She was in the First War of the Veil. She has bald spots on her head, and she says, as she's eating what dried foods she's been able to obtain, she says, Bjorn, what were the Uthgardt people like centuries ago in the world that they came from? None of us have ever met one, and we don't know.
You are that. They were people, like you and just like me, and they were trying to live in an incredibly dangerous world that was out to get them. They weren't always successful, but they usually were. This is the nature with any worthy challenge. It was hard.
They all look at each other, and then some of the people that you are pretty certain want to undermine your authority, or at least probe for a weakness to get an angle. Some of them then start to ask questions too. One of them is a half-orc woman, and she's always very. She's not a bad person. You can tell that, but she used to be a priestess in Parabor before the First War. A priestess, probably of Palor, or an acolyte, a temple worker. Anyways, a person of cloth, and her name's Aura. And but she's very tough, and she's always very jolly and happy, but she kind of, well, you're not sure, but there's something off where she you have not gained her confidence, and so she says, Bjorn, since you've studied this and you brought all of this information to us and everything, the origins, where did they come from? Who were their ancestors? How did they even come to be?
Is this a question that I know the answer to?
As much as Caleb does.
Okay. They came back from like many people in the Vale. They came from another world called Faerun, where they were tribal warriors and raiders led by a man named Uthgardt. And he sailed ashore and made war against many great foes, monsters and people, and he captured great cities that were filled with corruption. And he forged this path. He bound spirit animals that the tribes used and established a path that the Uthgardt have followed in Faerun for millennia. And he, Uthgar, is this man who, through his deeds, became a god, is the teacher that we follow, as much as the world around us.
If that's true, why didn't they just unite and simply take over Faerun? Why did we end up here? Most of us are from Faerun. Why did they allow the things to happen that happened there?
Wasn't a question of allowance. The world itself cannot be controlled. You can survive in it. And survive they did, in that world and in this one. And you can too. Even if it doesn't always look like it.
You leave her unable to pose another question. Having received a satisfactory answer, she's not able to try to poke a hole in your defense further. And then another person, a middle-aged halfling with white hair and balding. He's wrapped up in all sorts of fur cloaks. Some of them have found ways to heat liquids that they've turned into broth or different things. As they try to shelter and feed a fire as best they can. And he says, "How do we find Uthgartheim? The place you talked about. How do we find it? Where is it? Where do we go? Why do we go back to Perrinval City?"
Bjorn will kind of like look thoughtful and stroke his beard a bit and say, "I don't know. I
Some
think
of
we'll
them like roll their eyes at that, and they start to mumble among themselves and stuff like that.
That's not our quest. Not today, not now. That might be for those to come after us, or you, later. Or we might find ourselves there after we die. It's not the matter that we've been tasked with."
All right. And he looks like hopeless when you say that. He's like, "What to what end this task? Why should we go back and help them? How can we even help them? You could see on the horizon, it's endless. The armies that they face."
You're kind of like smile at this and actually look like really kind of comfortable. He leans forward and he says, "Well, we do this for kind of gestures around him, or for a home, for somewhere that we can be safe. I'm not worried about their endless armies. I've faced them before. I've been in the abyss myself. There's always one or two that lead a host like this. Their numbers, the demons' numbers never end up meaning anything. It's all about finding the one that's worth fighting and doing them in. And they never seem to succeed in the end. The people of Perrinval, they're trapped behind those walls, defending their stick in the mud. They'll be facing down the hordes. while whoever leads this great host is sitting off in a camp somewhere, probably eating and feasting and laughing. And we'll solve them the same way all the best problems get solved. A lot of stabbing, probably. Maybe some arrows.
This actually makes him laugh, and several others laugh, and they elbow him and everything. You can take 3 points, and then now we have like a pool of extra points, okay? And you have 3 extra points. Like, so you got 6, and you got 3 like temporary hit points, if you will, right? And the next thing that happens, just keep in mind you're not going to die here in this situation. But we're going to see what
Challenge
happens
accepted.
with this. They, satisfied with their time together and their mood lightened and their questions answered, they try to sleep. And sleep, you do not. And probably neither do they. Between watches, it is miserable and painful. And you can tell in the looks in their eyes that some of them know that the digits are frostbitten and probably will be lost, limbs lost. It is a horrible way to die. And you know that that could happen to you. And you can make your first Constitution saving throw.
All right. Let's see. I am Bjorn, which means that I and everyone within a certain distance of me makes saves with a +4.
Okay.
Okay, that was you doing stuff.
Yeah, that's me.
Confused me for a second. I
Sorry.
was doing technical failures. All right, that's 11 + 4 is 15 for me.
You fail. You
Oh,
take your first point of exhaustion. And you can see that the resolve to survive in these normal people is impressive. And that may be the thing that they needed to know. I think it's the thing I need to know as the dungeon master. Is that like, wait, these are normal people, and that's okay. Like, they are still going to try to do something extraordinary. In the night, you find a frozen dead body, though, of the old halfling who you turn over, who passed away in the night with a smile on his face. What do you do?
I would like to. I don't suppose that there's enough wood around for a pyre. I assume that's kind of not in the cards.
I would say that you can use some of your fuel for a pyre, but then you're gonna not have fuel later on for a fire.
Yeah, I think I'll not do that. Fire is just too useful right now. But what I do have is the spell ceremony, which includes among its various features funeral rite. You touch one corpse, and for the next 7 days, target can't become undead by any means short of a wish spell. And so I'll do a funeral rite for this fallen soul.
What does it look like? It's while everyone's asleep and in the dark and while you're freezing cold. What does it look like to do that?
I imagine not much. Bjorn kind of like sees him dead and looks around and weighs the options for making it more of a spectacular affair, but doesn't see any. It's just like him alone in the night with the howling winds, and so he just sort of kneels down, puts a hand on the fallen halfling's shoulder, bows his head, and then there's just like a bit of sort of a yellowish light.
You do that, and you prepare his body for hopefully what you'll be able to provide for it later. And you can make your next Constitution saving throw.
Oh boy, I don't make those at disadvantage, do I?
You do not.
Now that we have exhaustion? Alright. Let's go. Constitution. That's better. That's a 22 plus 4.
22 plus 4, you pass. And uh, you know that you need to sleep. This is presumably the moments before when you fulfill the oath of your ancestors. And you need sleep to do that. Or else you're going to be like Gandalf and be like, and I'm even tired while I have to do this. And you're not able to. And you can make another Constitution saving throw.
Ruh-roh. All right.
There
Let's
is
see.
a.
That
Oh, go ahead.
19 plus 4.
19 plus 4. There is a good point to this that you're not going to see quite yet. And make another Constitution saving throw.
Ruh-roh. All right. That's a 14.
All right, that fails. And make another Constitution saving throw. There's a point to this. You're now second level of exhaustion.
That's a 20 total.
All right, that passes. All right, and make another Constitution saving throw.
All right. That is 13 plus 4 is 17 total.
Oh crap! No, that's not going to do it. Okay. Okay. Make another Constitution saving throw, but with disadvantage.
Alrighty. That's not a whole lot. That's 13 total.
All right. You're now exhaustion level 4. You have
Oh,
half your
boy.
hit points.
You don't love to hear it.
And let's see, you have 6 plus 3 that I said, or I said 3, I think. So now you lose one of those. That's the point of this. And make another Constitution saving throw with disadvantage.
I give him inspiration.
You cannot. You're not here.
I have inspiration, but I will die before I use it. All right, that's pretty good. That's 25.
All right, you pass, so you get the point back. That's the point of this. Make another Constitution saving throw with disadvantage. You're basically freezing to death in the night.
All right, I probably continue. That's a 15 total.
15. All right, you lose 1. You are now exhaustion level 5, and you're no longer able to move as you find yourself about to freeze.
Awesome.
Or even call out
Love
for
to hear
help. And you can do the next one.
Oh boy. Disadvantage. That's 20 total.
20, so you get a point back, so you get your 3. Keep going.
Keep going. All right, let's keep freezing. All right, that's 19.
Sweet, so now you got plus 4 kind of escrowed as temporary, so that is handy. So make another Constitution saving throw.
With disadvantage?
Yep.
All right. That's a 19 total.
All right. Very unlikely at this point that you're going to run out of these points or go into the negative. But
Joke's on you, Cold. If I fell asleep, I wouldn't get these plus 4s.
keep on rolling.
Alrighty. That's the same. That's a 20.
All right. Keep going.
Oh boy. Alright. Let's see.
It may become mathematically impossible, actually, to go in the negative here soon, so that's good.
Love to hear it. That's 16 total.
16 total?
Yep.
Ah, yes, because disadvantage. Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay, so now you're plus 5, which is still good. Okay. You look around, and as the light begins to fade from your eyes, you can see your companions also freezing to death. And it looks like in this horrible moment that everyone that you led out here may simply freeze. And as the light begins to fade, you you like close your eyes and you open them again, and you can kind of like see that place again that was shown to you by the tree, and you see these bright violet lights and shimmering stars and lamp lights, or whatever you call those things that hold oil and fire, marking fields and paths of adventure forever. And you can feel warmth and the life coming back into your body, and you think you hear laughter and celebration echoing in the distance from halls where people drink and reminisce of all the adventures that they have and all the ones that are so much on that are going to come later. And there's this above you, this canvas of like a never-ending violet expanse of stars, and a gentle rain. And as much as you long for this place, you think that you could hear a voice, like way off in the distance. Oh, final son. Like, and you hear this echo, and it reminds you of your oath that you took. That before the burning tree, you promised that you would see that whether you saw these halls or not, there others might. And that there might be great heroes here. And I offer to you that this could be the moment that Bjorn changes. That his he hasn't been told to do this by the axe. Not necessarily. There's the basic thing that the axe says, but that Bjorn could be the person now to try to guide people here. Because that, I think, is the difference. Is this isn't something he's doing for Uthgardt anymore, or an axe, or people immediately around him, but all these people. I don't know. What do you think Bjorn would feel or think, if he saw Uthgardt time, a glimpse of it again? Or you can go to it. I guess actually that's another option.
Yeah, I think upon seeing this, his immediate thought would be that he totally froze to death in the dark.
Yeah.
And is like, he's presented with this amazing scene, and just his shoulders kind of slump, and he goes, damn, you'd think dying in glorious battle wouldn't be this difficult, but it really, fuck. I guess I screwed it up. I guess I landed here. Like he thinks he just didn't quite make it out, and I guess he just kind of slowly trudged forward.
Oh, into the gates of Uthgardt. Not he wouldn't try to make it back.
I don't know that he'd be under the impression that he could. Is he under such an impression?
Yes.
Okay.
Because of the voice. That's what, oh yeah, you made an oath. Because that's the crux of your oath wasn't, yes, I'm going to do this. It's, I might not, but others here can.
Ah, okay. Yeah, if he's he's still got people kind of depending on him, so he'd just, rest his axe back on his shoulder and do a little salute towards Uthgardt and then just turn around and walk away.
When your eyes awaken again, you lose all of this beauty that you see, and instead, let's see here, keep that over there. Good. people are shaking you, and it seems like they survived through the night, and you have barely. Um, and you can see as you're laying under this outcropping another stone structure, but far off. Not like this image here, okay, but like, almost like a mirage if you just have fields of white and these jagged outcroppings and horizontal blowing snow, a blinking yellow light glimmering in the snow off in the distance. You're not even sure if it's your imagination or not, or if even you're still alive or dead. But they're able to
Right.
wake you up.
This light is in the structure?
Like it looks like snowy fields, and then like a blinking light, white, yellow light, like almost like a beacon.
I can't discern anything but that there's a blinking yellow light.
Right.
I don't know. I guess once more onto the breach, I'll head over there.
They follow you. When you approach this place, you see ancient ruins built by the builders, the fallen kingdom, the first kingdom that your ancestors fought here, and brought here and tried to help them and take care of them, and then they betrayed them. Um, and it's one of their own ancient tombs with some sort of mage light inside. And the blessing here is you're certain that this would provide at least shelter from the cold. Probably, if you plunder the tomb, you would have whatever items that you find there and food and water that you could probably craft or work with or make fire. What do you do?
I think I'd like to enter the tomb first, because I'm pretty not afraid of the undead, and I'll sort of bring the others into the threshold, but I'd like to scope the place out myself first, not immediately set to plundering, but
You
just like look around and see if anything moves or greets me, interacts with me in any way.
It does not. The casks of their dead are silent and certainly dead, and not magically imbued with necromancy. They are strangely shaped and covered in runes, like many of the structures and things that you found in Terathost and other places. But there are these lamps of mage light, and they actually even put off heat. It looks like at some point an avalanche or something must have uncovered this ancient tomb or cairn, and it has all the bizarreness of the fallen empire here. But yeah, no undead. Definitely warmth, and if you plundered it, like if you cracked things open, you could probably find magical items, things that are valuable, and possibly things that you could use to keep fires going, and tools and food and all kinds of stuff.
There seemed to be a focal point, like a central. Oh, here's where the leader's buried, or just like an altar somewhere, or something along those lines.
Yeah, and you find a place that's like an elven tomb. It's on the lowest part of this. You descend down. The mage lights automatically alight as you enter, and this is the tomb of their tribal leader, at least the last one that was entombed.
Are these Uthgardt, or are these Imperials?
They are from the first empire, the fallen empire of the people that used Netherese magic.
All right, well, I'd
So
like to
everything's
sort of-
really strange. Caleb would know it to have like a sci-fi appearance, but to
All right.
Bjorn, everything has a weird geometric shape that doesn't make sense, and
Yeah,
symbols
Bjorn's
and-
used to rolling with situations that don't make sense, so
Terathost
he'll
had
sort
this
of
stuff.
he'll sort of put his hand on the fanciest tomb there, and he'll say, "I'm sorry, really am, but you're my ancestors helped yours once, and I need you to return the favor. Remain at rest. The living need your things more than the dead do now. And I'll once I'm sufficiently satisfied that the place is safe, I'll give a go ahead for the old plundering."
You do the old plundering. A few of your followers look baffled that you would do this, but you find things that improve their battle rating because you definitely find magical weapons. Nothing like what Bjorn wields, but things that some of your mightier warriors might be able to use in battle. And I'm going to improve your battle rating right now. It was the total battle rating, assuming you took every commoner into battle, is 129. And I'm going to improve it to 139. But you gain no points. Not that you need any. But you do find food and shelter and sources of water and devices to make fires and keep you warm, and you have found a solution to everyone freezing to death, and that problem is solved. And when you're ready, it is now, only a short but difficult journey across the remaining snowy, ice-covered fields into Nuxvar's Pier, into the western portion of Perrinval City. And you can even hear the distant sounds of battle.
Right. Well, you can kind of yell at me if I'm stepping on toes of semi-scripted shenanigans here, but what I'd like to do is basically convert this place into a quick sort of base of operations, and then set out scouts to see what's going on, because I think we're sufficiently close. We're in biting distance here. So I'd like to try to use scouts to see what the lay of the land is, and see if there's a battle that needs joined, and if so, where the best place to commit our forces would be.
All right. The winter winds are blocked by both the fires and the commotion, and also just the sheer walls of Perrinval City itself. The time eventually comes where you using your scouting force that you take with you, you see, after all these weeks of travel, the besieged city of Perrinval. And let's see here. When your scout force arrives on the western portions of it, you're able to find an area of high ground and look ahead. And you can see that you are almost entirely too late to even help. The gates have completely fallen. Demons flood into the streets, slaughtering the innocent everywhere. On the near side of these huge towers near the cliffside is a glowing light. Near the sea, near a small island on the sea, is the tree of your ancestors, the glowing light. The demonic horde circles and swarms out to the west. And you are certain, looking at this, that you have got very little time, not enough time to gather your forces now, to try to get to the tree before it's destroyed. And your ancestor spirits are lost forever.
Not good.
Yeah.
Do I see any? Recognize that this is potentially a very silly question, but do I see any thing that looks like possibly a leader of the demonic hordes?
Not yet. That is so one moment in the battle as far as how the battle is pitched. It's clear that they've just swarmed the streets and taken over, and some demons are definitely larger than others. And there are war machines and siege equipment, and some of it's already being brought up the hillside, and it is organized, but you don't see kind of a center of gravity yet. But ask me that question later.
All right,
Because they haven't advanced all the way to the cliffside yet.
Okay, what's my understanding of the tree? Is it like a fixed point, or could I move it?
You mean, can you uproot the tree and take it?
Yes.
You can try.
Okay. If I'm not confident that's a thing I'll do, or I can do.
You can't tell really what's going on until you get there. That's sort of a crisis where you're like, this could happen in moments. Like if I don't get there soon.
Yeah, I think if it looks like the demons are converging on / attempting to destroy the tree, that take my priority. So I'd take my head my scout force over in that direction.
Okay, you have horses. I assume that you use scouts that have horses. Like that makes sense, right? You want something very mobile, and so you gallop your scout forces to the where the island is, and then we're gonna have an interlude. Because I think I already. Meanwhile, non-chronologically. Rin. Meanwhile, in the Restful Lily in Felsane's Tower, Rin, at night, the night before you faced off against the hags, she had a dream. As everyone in the Restful Lily that night was visited by dreams, except for Theron, and she simply hears a voice. And it says, "Friend of tree and stone."
Yes.
The moment has come. That moment. For so long, we have waited. When you finish helping in this quest, leave them. Return to us. The time has come.
Great. Makes sense to me.
Okay. And when they ascend the tower and they get to the portal, and Caber's like, "All right," and then Caber like jumps in the portal, and no one else has. There's like that Caber, no one else, right? And like, so Caber's jumped through the portal, and they look around and they don't see Rin. And let's see. Meanwhile, when your cavalry, your scouting force gallops across the snow and the crater-filled earth where siege and machine is. You gallop past siege machines that are broken down, and the battle has already moved on far beyond it, well into the city. And you can see flames off in the distance as it's a dark, wintry night, and kicking up clods of frozen dirt. And you come up to the place where the stone, where you met the stone, and where the tree was planted, and you see a crowd of people here. You see a whole bunch of Zwerfneblin, and that you led from the gnarled caverns, and there are a few humans as well, some that you don't recognize. You notice that there are fewer Zwerfneblin, but a large portion of the tribe, like most of them or a lot of them, but less. And the tribal chieftain is with him as well, and he approaches you. And I believe the chieftain spoke in common, right? Yes.
That's my recollection.
And he says, "We have failed you, Bjorn. The charge that you left us with. The demonic horde, they swarmed Rotherberry. They killed everyone. They found our burial mounds. This is all that's left of our tribe. And they slew Ivar. We failed you." And you can see in the glade the body of Ivar, torn apart but carried reverently here to the glade by the Zwerfneblin.
No. That's the worst possible person who could have died. Bjorn kind of nods somberly, say, I'm sorry for your people. But I'm glad to see that those of you that yet remain still do. You haven't failed me. So what's the situation here?
And he starts to point, because there's a outcropping where there's a observation sentry, where you're able to see with the firelight on the hillside, because the whole thing kind of dives off from the side of this hill, overlooking the sea. And so you're able to kind of look and see what's going on there. So he points up there, but as he does, you hear a booming voice speaking. And it says, let's see here. It says, "Our son, the moment has come. Your warriors have drawn together. Death or life, we fulfill our oaths either way. And if the gods allow it, the future of our people begins now."
Right, boy, that doesn't add clarity. Here's a silly question for you, Dungeon Master. The tree.
Yes.
Is this tree on fire, or what's its deal? What's going on
It's
here?
not on fire. It's just very pretty.
Okay, so the tree's
grown.
alive.
Because, yeah, you have the living graft of the tree. You planted it, and it's alive.
All
Yes,
right.
and it's grown.
Very good, very good. Okay, and so when we were coming in, did it look like I was a little confused. Did you say that the demons were kind of leaving this area and moving on towards the city? Is the immediate danger passing here, or is it still on its way?
It is on its way, yes.
All right, then we gonna want us to fortify this ground here, shield wall up, and probably send a few scouts back and try to get the rest of the army over here.
You start shouting commands and everything, and And I'll show you if you go to that point in a second. We'll like kind of show you like what's because you'll be able to see from that vantage point some of the things that are happening in the battle itself. Make some
Gotcha.
tactical decisions. And the tree beckons you forward. It says, Bjorn.
Yeah. Yeah. Go up to the tree.
Death is a gateway to Uthgardt time. Also the cheer of those around us. The pleasure of every moment reverberates past and future, like a stone dropped in a pond rippling forth. Memories, sweeten but also hurt. Nothing can be held forever. When clenched in a closed fist, it escapes faster. What we could have even had. But even death must answer to the legacy of our ancestors. Our voice now falls silent. We grant the last of our power to beseech Tempest with a final request. Uthgardt, Battle Father, you once rode to battle. Do you remember? And then you hear the weirdest noise, like the grating of stone and bark together in a laugh that echoes around you. And it gathers the attention of demons nearby. And suddenly, a light beams from the northwest. And it beams around the base of the tree, and the crowd almost has to like raise their eyes as this like light just illuminates. And then you hear neighing and other noises like joy and confusion, grinding of earth beneath hooves, and then the flapping of strong wings as the light recedes away. And you see where Ivar lay, now a large and powerful beast in its place.
Oh.
And the tree says, our voice is no more. Finish our oath. This is the end of your rune hunt, but the beginning of theirs. Our voice is no more. Be unyielding in the fight. Honor the dead. Guide into the old ways. You are now our voice. And the light fades from the tree, and the tree, its bright lights and bright leaves simply fade and become simply another tree.
Well, in that case, don't defend this spot. And I'll get up on Ivar.
You mount Ivar. Ivar gleefully allows you to do so. And he seems pretty enthused.
Yeah, I've missed you. It's been too long.
He flicks his hair back at you. That's the best he can do with you on his back. And you see the faces of horrific monsters and demons everywhere appearing from the buildings nearby, stampeding toward your position. And in the middle of all of this are a group of people that took the challenge of someone to go on a quest and then return back and face battle and the promise of something after life. And I'll show you kind of what the battle looks like from that vantage point. This is sort of tactical information that you can gather. Generally speaking, you see that the forces of Perrinval are surrounded and cut off and non-contiguous. There are pockets of them that are fighting for their lives. It is impressive that it looks as though they have fought for days, and now they have mere hours left, and for whatever fight they have, because you can see portals in the south part of the city where they are just pouring out. And they are endless. And you can see on the cliffside the banners of the Kingdom of Perrinval. And the king and a command post commanding forces, and forces still trying to respond and still trying to fight. And you find what you were asking about, because it seems that the plan of these demonic forces were exactly what you had thought. And there's no way that your forces could arrive in time to do anything about this. It'll take several rounds before they could engage in the battle from the west. But they can come from the west. But you, on horseback, do see the command post almost being overtaken by a vanguard, including what is clearly a demon unlike any you've seen. Huge and with 6 arms and magic blades. And it looks like the demonic forces have, like, all right, we're going to strike right at the head and take it out. And they're about to do that soon at the command post at the foot of Felsang's tower.
I believe I do recognize that particular demon.
Ah, yeah, that's
fought
right.
at the previous battle,
fought
and
it.
I did not fight it. I didn't
Yeah.
get the chance. But now, fate has been kind. I want to kill it.
You
I
take
would
off
like
on
to attack this force with myself and/or whomever I can bring.
It will probably take too long to get your forces there, but my question is, if you're going to strike down at the command post, what are you going to have everybody else do? What are you going to have your forces do? I'm gonna put 'em on the map.
Reposition. We don't have to defend this glade anymore, and defending positions is a bad idea. I want them to move and to regroup elsewhere.
Okay.
To be deployed when useful.
Oh, do you want them to stay in place? And what command are they looking for? Like, what would they be looking for to know when they're going to do something?
Probably me
Doing what?
arriving.
So when you hit the command post, you want them to do what?
You said there were like demons coming down at the glade, right?
Yes. Do you want them?
Yeah, I want them to kind of avoid those.
Okay.
Like, those demons don't matter, just leave.
Gotcha.
And regroup with the main force.
Do you want them to try to reinforce the command post as soon as they can? It would just take several rounds for them to get there. Probably 10-ish.
If that doesn't seem like a stupid idea, then sure.
Yeah, if you hold them off long enough, your forces would arrive.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I don't intend to hold them off. I intend to kill them. But yeah, sure.
Hey, everybody.